been spoken against for the greater of like good for everyone to coexist. So how are you angry at us that we want to fucking come to a conclusion on how everyone can just stop the fucking bullshit?
It's self-righteous. Let me be clear. It's coming off self-righteous.
Okay. Don't worry, because at the end of the day, I can guarantee you, and this is a real true fact, had nobody on this panel said anything, they'd be still on your fucking panel fucking up everything. You have only been able to battle these last couple days because them bitches haven't been here. That's the fucking truth.
Well,
And
you get all the credit.
we were the
Somebody give
only
her
ones
applause
with
and a
enough fucking
cookie.
balls to say anything about it. And now you're angry because we wanted to ask some questions to an adult. Like, that's not the way that it works. If Cowgirl felt some type of way, she expressed herself to us already. She told us how she felt. She answered the question. The conversation was over. We stayed in the VC. We played games. Like, there's no reason to. If you didn't like what was being said to Booney, my point still stands. Why didn't you say something at the time, or why didn't you call us about it later?
Why didn't you call Cowgirl and tell her later? How about that?
Because Bold wants to be messy online in the panel.
And why did you call Mimi later? Why did you call Cowgirl? Let's do that.
No, I'm not talking about call on the phone. I'm talking about call attention to the matter. Like, why didn't you bring attention to the matter if you felt that Booney was wronged in some way? Like, why Cowgirl? What's so special about Cowgirl that you feel like you need to talk to us about?
I am being for real. That's the problem. Nobody. I can call out stuff just like.
Yeah, but that's what I'm asking. Why this? Why call out this? Like, what
exactly are you calling out?
Yeah, what is so special about this situation? Is this another Sharonda scheme? Because it's not making any sense.
See, right there. That little shade right there.
How do you expect me not to throw shade when I'm trying to have a conversation with you and you keep throwing shade at me? Like, your little sound effects and shit like that is definitely condescending.
Right there, that says a lot right there. And that's why I'm not saying another thing about no Queen. I mean, Sharonda. She can go and say, I'm not explaining anything another side about the Sharonda situation.
I didn't ask a question.
That's not going to happen.
Nobody is asking you to explain.
So y'all can believe whatever you want to believe on that side. I'm not giving any.
Oh, so you feel guilty now? That's what this is.
I don't guilty about what?
This is what this is, because it's a lot of deflection.
Yeah.
I don't feel guilty about nothing. You're wrong about that.
Yeah, then why are you acting this way?
It's about the fact that we told you in the Discord that some of the story you were telling us wasn't.
Call out what she just did. Call out what Queen just did and threw some shade about Sharonda. Don't do that. That's deflection.
Okay. What do you mean? That shade was well placed. Have you seen and heard yourself in this conversation?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all can come in agreement like y'all do. That don't move me.
It's not common sense and logic.
Shut up, Ed.
So can I ask a question though? So what is the resolution or goal? So we're not just going back and forth, because it sounds like there's just, different perspectives and everything on how the call went. And I think it's just frustrating when it feels like everyone's, not being real. And then Cowgirl's not in here, and Cowgirl was messaging in the Discord like she was fine. So I didn't even really come at her like that. It was just like, oh, did you see?
Even if she wasn't fine, who gives a fuck? That's the point. Like, who gives a fuck if she wasn't fine? People act like they can't walk away from fucking discussions. If Cowgirl didn't want to be there, she didn't have to fucking be there. Nobody forced her. That's the bottom line. Like, anytime you're in a situation like this, it's fucking voluntary. Literally.
I'm also just confused and really want to go back to Queen's original question. Why didn't you have this fucking energy when Sharonda was running amok on your fucking panel? But Cowgirl gets distressed in a VC call of 10 to 15 people, and you got energy to say some shit.
I've stood up for Cowgirl before. This is nothing new.
Stood up to what? For what? What happened?
Oh, you weren't in the FB Live? Oh, okay. You don't remember that? I don't. Maybe you wasn't in that.
No, you didn't really do anything that live. You let everybody else get into the argument, and you sat there and played sound effects and made little noises and waited for the rest of us to handle the fucking problem.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about the FB.
Yeah, I'm also talking about the FB live where you tried to come at him for some sideways shit that made no fucking sense.
And then I did go off about the cowgirl.
About nothing. That was the point, because cowgirl was going off about nothing. It was literally nothing. She made a huge deal about nothing. That's your
interpretation. You can interpret however you want to fucking.
It's not an interpretation. It's actual fact, because FB is allowed to have a disagreeing opinion on something. He is allowed to have that. And Cowgirl flew off the handle for no fucking reason.
I don't think it's about Cowgirl at all. I think it's about the fact that you feel like we did something to you by asking questions on something that wasn't making sense. It was a joke when I said I didn't believe you. I thought it was apparent that most of us were poking fun with you and also asking real questions about how the situation went down.
With what?
When we were talking in the VC. And I feel like you feel wronged because you felt like we were saying we didn't believe you. I don't think this is about Cowgirl at all. Really? Because
I don't believe me.
Huh?
I don't care if y'all don't believe me.
Like, are you having a hard time understanding what I'm saying? I didn't say that. I said I feel like you are upset because you think that we were telling you that we didn't believe you in that call. When
I just said that. I said, so I don't then care if you don't believe me.
Then what was the screaming? Like, I'm not explaining shit to you niggas no more. That sound upset to me?
Yeah, that means because you don't believe me. I'm not explaining anything. I don't.
But nobody, like she was saying, like it was satire while asking real questions. So I guess I can kind of see where you're coming from, but at the same time, like, this energy wasn't expressed in the VC, which is like my whole thing, because we've been sitting in there for hours.
Yeah, in the same place.
Like hours, the same place. We haven't moved, the same people. So like, if we felt this way, why? And then you were even live earlier after the VC call.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm not understanding why this right now.
I feel like you doing what you should have did. And I mean, congratulations for listening to the feedback that people were giving you. But I feel like you're putting on a show to make up for the shit that you fucking neglected, that people have held you accountable about. And it's starting with you thinking that you're standing up for something.
Nobody can hold me accountable again.
It feels like you're taking that accountability. It feels like you're taking
y'all don't know.
It feels like you are overcompensating for the last
I'm not overcompensating for anything. Just because I choose these people that give back in conversations like Sharonda did, that was on her. I've never volunteered. I only volunteer information to confront or to give my side of what happened. That's all I can do. Now, y'all wanted me to hold her accountable on the app.
No, they did. Other people did. I'm saying like other people like Chaos and Queen Boo.
What y'all saying is I let her run amok. That's not true. We have talked on the back end and had discussions about this and the behavior.
All right, that's a damn shame that we couldn't get that same courtesy. But the point is that it feels like we are overcompensating.
See, that's what I'm talking about, the smart ass remarks.
And it's going to continue. You know who I am. It's no different than you putting up your sound effects in the background. That's just as condescending as what I'm saying.
You want me to say? Shut the fuck up to somebody? A total stranger?
Who was a total stranger?
Who was a total stranger?
I'm just saying, you want me to say, shut the fuck up, stop talking. I'm going to get, y'all want me to react the way you want me to react. It's not going to happen. So if you think you're going to have your way with me, you can block me.
Nobody is trying to have their way with you.
What conversation are we having right now?
This is such deflection and projection.
My behavior's not going to change.
This is such deflection and projection.
My behavior's not going to change.
This is such deflection
behavior's
deflection
not
and
going to
projection
change.
because nobody
My
said anything
behavior's
about
not
that.
going to change.
Nobody
My
said anything
behavior's
about
not
that.
going to change.
Nobody said
My
anything about
behavior's not
that.
But
going to
nobody said
change.
that,
Nobody
Bo.
said
My
anything
behavior's
about
not
that.
going to change.
Nobody
My
said anything
behavior's not
about
going
that.
to change. My
Nobody said
behavior's not going to
anything
change.
about
My
that.
behavior's not going to
Nobody
change.
said anything
My
about that,
behavior's not
Bold.
going to change.
Nobody said
My
anything about
behavior's
that,
not going
Bold.
to change. My
Nobody said
behavior's
anything
not going
about
to
that,
change.
Bold.
My behavior's not
Nobody
going to
said
change.
anything about
My
that, Bold.
behavior's not going to change. My
Yeah,
behavior's not going to change. My
he is
behavior's
glitching
not
because
going to
nobody said
change.
anything about
My
that.
behavior's not going
Literally
to
nothing.
change. My behavior's not going to change. My behavior's not going to
Okay,
change.
remove the
My
batteries.
behavior's not going to change. My behavior's not going to change. My behavior's not going to change.
Somebody turn it off and turn it back on. Thank you. Because it's our behavior that's being called into question. No one's calling your behavior into question at all.
At all.
At all. But I think
That was never said.
it's not. And the issue is comprehension. What I asked you was, did you feel some type of way about our conversation in the VC? All you have to do is say yes, and we can have a discussion about it. But there's no possible way that we can have a real discussion if this is how you gonna act. Because I can guarantee you that if this shit goes left, it's not gonna go left for me. So if you want to have a conversation about something that somebody's... No, I did not. No, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about as far as an argument goes. I'm not trying to have an argument with you. But
there's no need for an argument.
There's no need for one. So if something happened that you feel upset about, then say that. But say it to the point, Bo. That's it. Say what happened. I didn't like this. I felt this way when someone said this. Just fucking use your words.